Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Learn with Nisha ji. Today we are going to study class 10 science chapter 7, that is how do organisms reproduce. If you have not subscribed the channel yet, you can subscribe the channel and get good marks in your exams. So here's the topic, do organisms create exact copies of themselves? Okay, and the importance of variation. ठीक है तो इसके बारे में हम इससे रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन स्टडी करते हैं तो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज व्हाट इज द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ डीएनए कॉपीइंग इन रिप्रोडक्शन सी डीएनए कॉपीइंग और रेप्लिकेशन इट इज essential in reproduction because it will ensure that genetic information is accurately passed on from one generation to the next. Okay. So in sexual reproduction, two sets of DNA, one from each parent, they combine to form the offspring's genetic makeup. Okay. And in asexual reproduction, the offspring is a genetic clone of the parent. Correct? So proper DNA copying, it will ensure the transmission of traits and characteristics, which will maintain the continuity of life and allow for the development of the new individual. Right? तो बहुत ज़्यादा importance होती है इसकी. Correct? Second question is, why is variation beneficial to the species but not necessary for the individual? Okay. See, variation क्या होता है? Variation in population, it will introduce genetic diversity. और genetic diversity क्यों important होती है? Survival of the species के लिए. Okay. So when environmental changes or a new disease arises, okay, individuals with genetic difference may possess traits to help them survive, leading to natural selection. ठीक है. So this diversity will help the species to adapt over time, okay, promoting long-term survival. Okay, but for an individual, variation may not always be advantageous since certain genetic traits could make them less fit or vulnerable in specific circumstances. Okay, so variation will benefit the species as a whole, but it may not always benefit every individual in the short term. ठीक है, तो long term के लिए इसके benefits होते हैं, right? So we study the modes of reproduction used by single organisms. इसमें first method होता है fission. Okay, fission, binary fission आप देख सकते हो in amoeba how the steps are occurring, right? So single one amoeba is being converted into two fine cells. Okay. Second is binary fission in Leishmania. तो ये भी एक single individual से two different individuals में convert हो रहा है, right? Now, this is multiple fission. ये किसमें है? Plasmodium में. So, multiple cells are being produced. तो इसके diagrams बहुत important होते हैं. Exam में ये diagrams आपको बनाने होंगे. So, practice them. Right? So, these are other methods of like this multiplication. First is fragmentation. Right? Fragmentation. Then second is regeneration. You can see here in planaria. Then we have budding. Okay, like budding in hydra. You can see here. Then we have vegetative propagation in leaf of bryophyllum, right? Spore formation in rhizopus. So all these diagrams you need to do for exam purpose. So let's see these 5 questions. All are very, very important. First is, how does binary fission differ from multiple fission? Very important. See, binary fission में क्या होता है? A single organism divides into two equal and identical daughter cells. Okay, so this is common in organisms like bacteria, amoeba, etc. Okay, so the process involves duplication of DNA followed by division of the cytoplasm, right? ये तो होता है बाइनरी फिजन में. अब मल्टीपल फिजन में क्या होता है? Organism divides into many daughter cells simultaneously. Okay, this typically occurs under unfavorable conditions when the organism forms a protective cyst around itself and undergoes repeated nuclear division followed by cytoplasmic division. So it is commonly seen in organisms like Plasmodium, which is a malarial parasite, right? Second question is, how will an organism be benefited if it reproduces through spores? Okay, so it has several benefits. Reproduction through spores, it will have many benefits. Like first is survival under unfavorable conditions. Okay, so spores have a protective coating that allows them to survive extreme conditions like drought, heat, or lack of nutrients. Okay. Second is easy dispersal. स्पोर्स बहुत लाइट वेट होते हैं. They can be easily dispersed by wind, water or animals. It helps the organism spread to new habitats. Correct? Third is rapid reproduction. A single organism can produce a large number of spores, which increases the chances of survival and colonization. Correct? So these are the three basic benefits. Now, let's come on to the third question. It says, can you think of reasons why more complex organisms cannot give rise to new individuals through regeneration? See, जो ज़्यादा complex organisms होते हैं, वो regeneration नहीं कर पाएंगे due to mainly three reasons. First is specialization of cells. ठीक है, complex organisms में cells are highly specialized for specific functions. This limits their ability to divide and form an entirely new organism. Okay. Second is organ systems. Complex organisms में interconnected organ systems होते हैं, which makes it difficult for a part to regenerate into a new whole individual. Right. Third one is the size and complexity. The larger size and structural complexity, they require coordinated development, which regeneration cannot achieve in more complex organisms. So these are the three major reasons. Fourth question is, why is vegetative propagation practiced for growing some types of plants? तो काफी reasons होते हैं इसके. First one is identical offspring. Okay, it will ensure that the new plants are genetically identical to the parent, preserving desirable traits like taste, resistance, or yield. Okay. Second is faster reproduction. So इसमें it gives quick production of mature plants compared to growing from seeds. Third is asexual reproduction in sterile plants. So it is useful for plants that do not produce viable seeds like banana, seedless grapes, etc. Last is it is cost effective. It will reduce the cost and time required for propagation in commercial agriculture. Right? So these are the 5 reasons. Last question is, why is DNA copying an essential part of the process of reproduction? So first one is like inheritance of traits. It will ensure that genetic information is passed on from parent to offspring, preserving the species characteristics. Second is variation and evolution. ठीक है, minor errors or variations during DNA copying, they introduce genetic diversity. This is crucial for evolution and adaptability of the species. Third is formation of functional organisms. So accurate DNA replication is necessary for proper functioning and development of the new organism. Okay, so these are the 3 major reasons. Next we study the sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Okay, तो आपको ये सारे diagrams करने होंगे, एग्जाम में ये आते हैं. Longitudinal section of flower, ये various parts दिखाएगा. This is anther, filament, इसको combined stamen बोलते हैं. This is petal, this is sepal, stigma, style, ovary, this is the part. तो इसको completely pistil बोलते हैं, right? Next you can see germination of pollen on stigma. तो ये pollen grain है हमारा. This is stigma. This is male germ cell, pollen tube, ovary, then female germ cell. It will go from here to this part, right? So ये सारे diagrams आते हैं. Next is germination. How germination takes place. ये सारे parts आपको पता होना चाहिए. Cotyledon food store होता है ये. Radicle is future root. Okay. Plumule is future shoot. Correct. Next, we have reproduction in human beings. So this is the human male reproductive system, then female reproductive system. These are the various parts. You can do these diagrams. So again, a set of 5 questions, very important. First is, how is the process of pollination different from fertilization? See, pollination क्या होता है? It is the transfer of pollen grains from anther, which is the male reproductive part, to the stigma, which is the female reproductive part of a flower. Okay, it can occur within the same flower, उसको हम self pollination बोलते हैं, or between different flowers. ठीक है, जिसे हम cross pollination बोलते हैं, and it is facilitated by wind, water or animals. Okay, fertilization क्या होता है? It is the process when the male gamete, that is the in the pollen grain, it fuses with the female gamete, that is the egg cell in the ovule. It forms a zygote. Okay, fertilization happens after pollination is successfully done, right? So this is the first question. Now let's move on to the second one. It says, what is the role of seminal vesicles and the prostate gland? So first is like seminal vesicles. These glands secrete a fluid which is rich in sugar, that is fructose, which produces energy for the sperm cells. Okay. The fluid also contains substances that help the sperm to survive and move more effectively. Okay. And prostate gland, it will secrete a slightly alkaline fluid which neutralizes the acidity of the vaginal tract, increasing sperm viability. It also contributes to the overall volume of the semen. Now we have the third question. What are the changes seen in girls at the time of puberty? So there are many hormonal activities due to which some changes are seen. One is development of breast, growth of pubic and underarm hair, then onset of menstruation, widening of hips and deposition of fat in certain body parts for a more feminine body shape, increased activity of sweat and oil glands which can lead to acne, then growth spurt in height and weight, then emotional and psychological changes. So these are all the changes, right? Fourth question says, how does the embryo get a nourishment inside the mother's body? So it will get the nourishment through placenta. Placenta क्या होता है? It is a specialized tissue that forms a connection between the mother and the embryo. ठीक है, placenta के बहुत सारे functions होते हैं. First is it will facilitate the exchange of nutrients, oxygen and waste products between mother's blood and the embryo's blood, right? Second is it provides essential hormones to maintain the pregnancy. And third is it will ensure the embryo's proper growth and development, right? Now, fifth question is, if a woman is using a copper T, will it help in protecting her from sexually transmitted diseases? No, it will not help because it's an intrauterine device IUD designed to prevent pregnancy by creating a hostile environment for sperm and preventing fertilization. But it will not provide protection against STDs. Okay, to protect, barrier methods like condoms must be preferred, right? So here is a summary of the chapter. You can go through all the points for a quick revision, right? So here we come on to the exercise questions. The first question says, asexual reproduction takes place through budding in, so we have amoeba, yeast, plasmodium, leishmania, okay? So it occurs in yeast, right? Next is, which of the following is not a part of the female reproductive system in human beings? Answer is vas deferens. Third is, the anther contains sepals, ovules, pistil, pollen grains. It contains pollen grains. So 1B, 2C and 3D, right? So the fourth question is, what are the advantages of sexual reproduction over asexual reproduction? So first is genetic variation. इससे genetic diversity introduce होती है, which will increase the adaptability and resilience of a species to environmental changes. Okay. Second is evolution. Variations allow for natural selection, which leads to evolution of better adapted organisms. Third is elimination of harmful triads. It will reduce the chance of passing on harmful genetic mutations which will increase the overall health of the population. ठीक है, तो बहुत सारे advantages हैं. Fifth is, what are the functions performed by the testes in human beings? So first is the production of sperms, which is necessary for reproduction. And second is the secretion of testosterone, which is a hormone responsible for secondary like sexual characteristics in males like facial hair, deep voice, muscle development, and so on. Sixth question is, why does menstruation occur? So it is because the uterus will prepare a thick nutrient-rich lining, which is endometrium, each month in anticipation of a fertilized egg. ठीक है? If fertilization does not occur, lining shed हो जाएगी and it is expelled from the body along with blood and mucus through the vagina. So this process is called menstruation. Seventh question is, draw a label diagram of the longitudinal section of a flower. ये हमने अभी देखा था. Same you can see. इसमें parts होंगे सारे petals, sepals, stigma, style, ovary, ovule, anther, filament, ये सब होंगे, right? So anther and filament, they represent the male reproductive structure, stamen बोलते हैं इसको, and female reproductive structure को carpel बोलते हैं. उसमें ये सब आएगा, stigma, style, then ovary at the base with ovules inside it, right? Next is eighth question. What are the different methods of contraception? So these can be, first is the barrier method, which prevent the sperm from reaching the egg, like diaphragms, condoms, etc. Second is the hormonal methods, which prevent ovulation or alter the uterine line, like birth control pills, implants, injections. Okay. Third is intrauterine devices, IUDs, which prevent fertilization or implantation, like hormonal IUDs, copper T, etc. Then surgical methods like sterilization, like vasectomy in men, then tubal ligation for women. Then there are natural methods like rhythm method, withdrawal or subsistence. Correct? Then ninth question is, what are the modes of reproduction? How the modes of reproduction are different in unicellular and multicellular organisms, right? So see, unicellular organisms methods use होते हैं like binary fission, multiple fission, budding, spore formation. ये सारे asexual methods हैं. A single organism will split or produce offspring without involvement of gametes. ठीक है? और multicellular organisms के अंदर both asexual and sexual reproduction methods are used, where specialized reproductive organs and gametes are involved. Asexual में vegetative propagation is an example, right? Then, 10th is, how does reproduction help in providing stability to population of species? So it will ensure continuity of a species by replacing individuals that die, maintaining the population size. So genetic diversity जो introduce होती है through sexual reproduction, it allows the species to adapt to changing environments and ensures long-time survival and ecological balance, right? Then last question is, what could be the reasons for adopting the contraceptive methods? First one is controlling population growth. Okay, it reduces the strain on resources and improves the quality of life. Second is prevention of transmission of STDs. Okay, barrier methods like condoms, they will reduce the risk of sexually transmitted infections. Then medical reasons for individuals where pregnancy can pose health risk. Okay, then preventing unwanted pregnancy, which helps individuals plan families according to their needs. And lastly, promotion of reproductive health, because contraceptive methods, they allow better control over fertility and reproductive health. So this completes all the questions. The chapter is done, and you can subscribe the channel if you have not, and stay tuned to learn with Nisha ji. Thanks for watching.